Hello, my dear students. Welcome back to my channel. I'm back here with a video for you all containing class 10 English chapter What is Moral Actions? Question and Answers. And yes, this is session 2 of the question answers. Already we have discussed part 1 in my earlier video, and I'll be sharing the link of the same in the description box for your reference. So let's move on with the part 2 of the session. But before that, students, if you're viewing my video for the first time, do subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon so that you get the notifications of all the upcoming videos. Do watch the video till end, and if you like it, hit the like button and share with your friends. Okay, so students, without wasting time, let's move on to the question answers. This is second main comprehension questions from your textbook. Under answer the following questions briefly. We have already done 11 question and answers in the previous video. So quickly, let's discuss question number 12. So, why does Gandhi say that Alexander's conquests cannot be called moral actions? So, when you read the chapter, you come to know that Gandhiji says that Alexander's conquest cannot be called as a moral action. So, why does he say so? So, answer is Gandhiji says that Alexander's conquest cannot be called moral actions because the intention behind all of them was only power and renown. He was termed as great, but his actions cannot be called as moral. Okay, so when we read the chapter, we come to know that Gandhiji, why he is saying that Alexander's conquest is not a moral action, because we find out that the intention of Alexander behind all of them was only to acquire power and to make his name and fame. So, though he is termed as a great soldier or a great leader, his actions cannot be called as a moral act. That is why Gandhiji has quoted this. Okay. So, next question. In each paragraph, Gandhiji adds one criterion to consider an action moral. What criterion is added in paragraph 4? So, students, when you read the chapter again, each paragraph you find that Gandhiji is giving criterion, one criterion to consider, like what action, like which action of yours is a moral. So, in paragraph 4, what criterion is mentioned by Gandhiji? That will be your answer here. Okay, so answer is the criterion added in paragraph 4 is that an action is moral if it is done voluntarily and without compulsion or fear of the king, boss, owner, or any other superior authority. So we come to know from paragraph 4 that Gandhi says that action can be a moral one, is a moral act if it is done voluntarily, without any compulsion or without any pressure or without any fear of the king or the boss or the owner or any other superior authority who is above you. If you are doing with the fear of them, then it's not a moral act. If it's not there any fear, no compulsion, no pressure, and then you are doing some act, then it becomes a moral act. Okay, so this criterion is mentioned in paragraph 4. So this is how you can write the answer. Moving to the next one. When does simple living become moral? So we also come across the chapter when we read like when is your simple living becoming a moral act? So answer is simple living becomes moral when the person, although being wealthy, thinks of all the want and misery in the world about him and feels that he ought to live a plain simple life and not one of ease and luxury. Okay, here we come to know that simple living it will become a moral act when, even though you are a wealthy, you are from well-to-do family, you have everything, but you think of all the wants and the misery in the world. Like you look upon all the problems, situations in the world which are being faced by many other people, and after feeling all those things, if you decide to live a plain and simple life and not of a ease and luxury, because obviously, if a person is wealthy, he will live a luxury and a ease life. But if you're deciding to sacrifice that ease and luxury life and just live the life very simple and in a plain manner, then it becomes a moral act. Okay, so this is how you can write the answer for this question. Moving to the next question. When does an employee's action of paying higher salaries to his employees remain non moral? So the question is like when the employees or the boss or the owner of the company, when he pays more or higher salaries to his workers or employees, but even then his act becomes and remains non-moral. When does it happens like this? When will you consider then it is a non-moral act even though he is giving him the higher salary? So let's see the answer. The action of paying higher salaries to his employees remain non-moral when he pays them more salary only with the intention of retaining them lest they may leave him. Okay, so I hope you are getting it, students. So here it's mentioned that if the boss or the owner or the employee is giving high salary to his employees just to remain, make them stay in the company, and for that purpose if he is increasing the salary, then it's a non-moral act. Okay, that is what the meaning of this answer. If he is giving more salaries to his employees so that they can remain, and it becomes non-moral when he pays them more salary only with the intention of retaining them, lest they may leave him. The boss has the fear that if he give them less and if he is not going to increase the salary, the workers may leave the company and go. So he will be in loss. So instead, he is increasing and giving him the higher salary. So if this is the purpose, if this is the reason of giving the high salary, then the act becomes non-moral. Okay, I hope I made it clear, students. So moving on to the next question. When Gandhiji quotes Shakespeare in paragraph 5, what argument does he want to strengthen? Okay, so when we read the chapter, we come across that Gandhiji is quoting Shakespeare's line here in paragraph 5 of the chapter. So, why does he quote that and what does he want to strengthen? Like, what does he want to emphasize here? So, let's see the answer. Gandhiji quotes the lines of Shakespeare to emphasize the point that any action, even one of showing love, done with a profit motive cannot be a moral action. Honesty should be restored to, not because it is the best policy of all, but because it is the right policy. Okay, so Gandhiji is quoting this line of Shakespeare here because he wants to emphasize that at any point, also, even if we are showing love to someone, but because of the profit motive, you are loving someone because of your own profit, then that love cannot be a moral action. Honesty should be there in any act you do to make it moral. Okay, not because it is honesty is the best policy, but because it is the right policy and you have to follow it in the human life. So thus he is quoting these lines of Shakespeare here. Okay, moving on to the next question. Gandhiji mentions the name of Henry Clay as an example for moral or non-moral action. Choose the right answer. So, students, we have the name mentioned of Henry Clay, which is taken as an example by Gandhiji here in this chapter. So, why has he taken this example for giving us a moral action example or a non-moral action example? So the answer is non-moral action because the action which was done by Henry Clay was a non-moral one. Okay, so it's a non-moral action. Moving to next question. What qualities of David Webster does Gandhiji mention? Okay, so here Gandhiji is also mentioning some qualities of David Webster. So let us see what is it. Answer is Gandhiji mentions David Webster for all his great intellect and his sense of the heroic and the sublime. Okay, so here Gandhiji mentions David Webster in this chapter for saying about his great intellectual power which he was having, and the sense of heroic, the bravery, the courage, and the sublime, the beauty, and the courage and the bravery which he had. So to highlight all these qualities, David Webster is mentioned. Like all these qualities are mentioned in the chapter by Gandhiji. Okay. So moving on to the next question. What is the single mean act of Webster mentioned in paragraph 6? So, what is the unkind or unfair act of Webster which is mentioned in paragraph 6? Okay, though he is telling about the qualities of Webster, what is that single unmean kind? Unkind act. Okay, so answer is Webster sold his intellectual integrity for a price. This is a single mean act of Webster which wiped out all his good deeds. So here, Webster had sold his intellectual integrity for a price. Because of the money and the price that he has sold his intellectual integrity, he did something which is bad. So this single mean act, this single unkind and unfair act of Webster had wiped all his good deeds. Whatever he has done, whatever earlier good deeds were done by Webster were all diminished, were all wiped out. Okay. So, moving on to the next question. Why is it difficult to judge the morality of a man's action? Okay, so we come across and the chapter, and we also come to know that it's difficult to judge whether the action is moral or non-moral by just seeing it. Why is it so difficult? So answer is it is difficult to judge the morality of a man's action because we cannot penetrate the depths of his mind and know the intention behind the man's action. Okay, so here it's mentioned that it's yes, it's difficult to judge because we cannot go deep inside the minds of the person, like what is his intention behind the action. Unless and until we know the intention, even though the act is good, we cannot consider it as a moral one because the intention behind that act should be a good one. A good intention will make your act a moral act. Okay, so this is what the answer about. Next question. What arguments does Gandhiji give to justify that moral acts should be free from fear and compulsion? So there are many examples which has been given in this chapter by Gandhiji. So we have to justify that what example he has given that moral act should be free from fear and compulsion. So what are the examples through which he tries to explain us this? So let us see. Answer. Gandhiji says that there is no morality in a person's act if he rises early out of the fear that if he is late for his office, he may lose his situation. Similarly, there is no morality in his living a simple and unpretentious life if he has no other means to live. Yes, so these are two examples which I've taken from the chapter. There are many more examples. You can take it. So here we will see. So Gandhiji says that if a person is getting up early in the morning with the fear that if he is late for the office, he may lose his post. And if he's for that purpose, with the fear he is getting up, then it's not a moral act. If he's willing from his heart and he's thinking that it's my duty, I'm very happy to get up early and go to the office to work, then it will be a moral act. Okay, so this is like one act which his Gandhiji has mentioned here, that he's justifying how the moral act and non-moral act can be distinguished. And similarly he also says that there is no morality in his living a simple and unpretentious life. He has no other means to live. See, we see many people who live a simple life, but they live a simple life because they don't have any other option at all. They do not have a luxurious life. That's not like they're sacrificing something because they don't have any other option. They are poor and they were living a simple life. Then it is not a not a moral act. It's not a morality there. But if you are a wealthy person, and even then if you are living a simple and plain life, then it will become a morality act. Okay, so this is how he's justifying. This is how the Gandhiji has given many examples here in this chapter. These were the two which I had given for you. Fine, so moving on to the last question of this main. To sum up, an action becomes moral when an action dash complete the following. So here in each paragraph we have an action which becomes moral, like at what stage the action becomes moral action. This is mentioned in each paragraph with an example or some phrase, so you have to pick it out from that each paragraph it is mentioned. Okay, for example, first one is given for you: springs from one's will. Like if you are doing some action from your own will, then it becomes a moral act. This is mentioned in paragraph 2. In the same way, paragraph 3, 4, and 5, what are those actions which are mentioned which are as moral, that we have to write it as an answer. Okay, so the first one is done. Second, if the action is done with the intention to do good. If you're doing some work, some act with the intention to do good, not with any profit motive, just to do something good, so that is a moral act. This is from paragraph 3. Similarly, from paragraph 4, if the action is done without any compulsion or fear, okay, if there's no pressure from above, from your boss, from your employee, or from your owner, and if you are doing work free without any compulsion, then it will be a moral act. This is mentioned in paragraph 4. The last, from paragraph 5, if you do action which has no self interest behind it, again, if you don't have any of your interest or your profit motive behind that act, and if you're doing it, then it is a moral act as per paragraph 5 from the chapter. Okay, students, so from these questions, we come to an end for first main of your question answers from your textbook. I hope I made it clear with all the question answers. And if you found this video as interesting and informative, do hit the like button and share with your friends. We'll be back soon with the other question answers of this chapter. Till then, take care and stay safe. Thank you.